So we're going to dive into the Oscars. We'll talk about the awards. We will get there, I promise. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the movies. We'll talk about the ratings, talk about maybe our favorite moments and stuff. But first and foremost, though, we got to talk about the slap. We got to talk about the slap heard, seen, and talked about around the world. We were talking pre-show that I can't remember the last time something in pop culture has captivated so many people around the world so instantly. I mean, there wasn't social media at the time, but this is like Janet Jackson's wardrobe malfunction internet age. That's what this is. In terms of collective outrage, everybody's got an opinion on it. Everybody needs smelling salts to like recoup themselves. But you know what? It was one of the biggest what the hell just happened moments that I can remember watching live. And it's becoming comical at this point. I know the Academy didn't plan this, but it's becoming comical with the Oscars at this point that every damn year something happens that takes away from the stars in the movies themselves. Every single year. Last year, we started this show talking about Anthony Hopkins' shocking upset for Best Actor last year over Chadwick Boseman. And it wasn't any of us being mad at Anthony Hopkins. It wasn't any of us in that realm being angry. I was the three of us that saw The Father. I thought there was absolutely an argument for him to win. But the Academy reordered that purposefully to try and because they thought Boseman was going to be the shoo-in, and he wasn't. So that got a ton of attention. And Hopkins got a lot of undeserved grief. The man was asleep in his bed. The man was asleep in his damn bed. And then you had famously a few years ago, and the Oscar goes to La La Land, Moonlight. Moonlight won Best Picture that year. And now after a somewhat untoward G.I. Jane reference, and nobody's thought about G.I. Jane in 15 years, after an untoward joke from Chris Rock directed at Jada Pinkett Smith, we're talking about him getting slapped by Will Smith. We don't need to recap what happened, the joke or anything like that. You know what happened, but it is shocking. It is absolutely shocking. And you knew something was up with the broadcast because in America, there's a thing called, and I work in radio, it's a common thing. You guys probably know what it is too. It's called dumping out of something. It's a button that you hit that turns off or mutes the audio for about 5 to 10 seconds whenever somebody curses. But I've never seen it before where the video feed dumped out as well. So Chris Rock was on stage. He made that joke directed at Jada Pinkett Smith. They flashed Will Smith and Jada Pinkett. And then it cuts back to Rock and the screen like glitched and froze for about 10 seconds. Then it comes back with no audio. But as somebody who really likes football too, lip reading has become pretty good, and it was a very enunciated remark by Will Smith, keep my wife's name out your effing mouth. And so you could kind of read the lips and see it. And then when the audio came back, you could see the visibly frazzled Chris Rock. And it wasn't until really the Australian and Japanese viewers, because in Australia and Japan, they don't have the same broadcasting restrictions. Mm-hmm. They caught it and put it on Twitter, and then you could see the whole thing happen, how it was conducted versus the censored version in America that screwed up all our TVs in the process. But you could certainly read Will Smith's lips. And I'm not going to lie. I laughed at the joke that Chris Rock made. I thought it was funny. I'm probably one of the only people under 30 that got it to begin with. Because G.I. Jane, famously, Demi Moore went bald in that movie playing a soldier. But it was funny. But the thing is, Jada Pinkett Smith has alopecia. She's very public about her alopecia. And there's also a history with this, too. There's also a history. When Chris Rock hosted the Oscars, Jada Pinkett Smith was boycotting it that year because of the lack of minority representation, specifically African Americans. And Chris Rock made the joke at the Oscars that Jada Pinkett Smith boycotting the Oscars was like him boycotting Rihanna's panties. Neither of us were invited. But it's a damn shame for everyone. That's exactly what it is. It's bad for everyone, this whole event. No one's going to remember Will Smith winning Best Actor 40 minutes later and then going on stage after the air was sucked out of that room.
He
Nobody,
ruined. I'm sorry. Go. I know this is your moment, actually.
no, it's fine. Nobody's talking about Coda, the Best Picture winner, which is a groundbreaking Best Picture winner in its own right. Smith's tainted his legacy and is now facing disciplinary actions by the Oscars, as reported by Hollywood Reporter just about an hour ago, if that. This has caught fire in a way that few moments do, and it's even overshadowed the Ukraine-Russia war in America, coverage-wise. It's everywhere. It's inescapable on social media, mainly because, if you think about it, though, this not only did this happen on live TV, these are two A-list actors. I have nothing against these two performers, and I don't think they do something like this. But let's be honest. This isn't Michael B. Jordan slapping Miles Teller. This is Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. These are household names. Now, the last point I want to make about this, the last thing I'll say, and I know Chris Rock, all eyes are on him tonight, literally. He's got a sold-out show in Boston tonight. And he arrived for that, the Wilbur Theater. And this is going to be the first public appearance he's made. He hasn't said anything. Now, I opined this to a couple friends in the last few days, and this is what I do if I'm Chris Rock. It's going to be hard, and I'm not that smart of an individual. I bet his agent has opined the same thing. If I'm Chris Rock, it's going to be hard when you're going on tour. Maybe I make a subtle pass about it or something like that, or be like, we'll come out on stage and say, I'm doing all right, guys, don't worry. Anyway, and then go on with the show. Because nobody's going to heckle Chris Rock. Nobody in their right mind is going to heckle Chris Rock, but I also didn't think anybody would slap Chris Rock either. But moreover, though, if I'm Chris Rock, you know what I do? I call Netflix, and I say $20 million for a stand-up special. I call Netflix. I get my agent on the phone with Netflix, and I say, do you want the most watched show special on Netflix in history? I'll give it to you this summer. I would do that. If I'm Chris Rock, you could make serious coin off of that. His shows are already skyrocketing in pricing, and he's selling more tickets than he has in the last few years. This is, I hate to say it, I said it's bad for everybody, but it's pretty good for Chris Rock.
No, yeah, honestly.
It's pretty good for Chris. I think Chris Rock makes out the best of this if he plays his cards right, and he's a smart, shrewd operator. There's a reason he's been relevant for so many years, but it's a sad situation for everybody, and I know these guys got opinions on it, so I'm going to throw it over to you, Joe.
Well, I mean, I'm just going to bounce off a little off of that. I mean, like, Chris Rock's always been smart when it comes to stuff. And, I mean, like, at least he was smart enough to know, A, I'm not going to hit back, but B, I'm not going to talk any, like, smack as he walks away from me back to his seat and sits back down. He just continued on. He was like, all right, that's it.
He bolted, reportedly. He bolted after that. He didn't even stay for the show. Which
I don't blame him.
In one bit. He bolted, and then it was reported the following morning that he wasn't going to press charges. But he hasn't come out and given any kind of public statement on this whole thing. And I think that's kind of smart. I think that's shrewd operating right there.